Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hello everyone, welcome back to another mini mic'd up series. Today's topic is going to be battling imposter syndrome. So I'm just gonna hop right into it because this is a topic that I actually have been battling with for a very long time, and I went to therapy for, and I feel like talking about it on here could help someone else that may be also going through it and may not realize you're going through it. Before we get right into it, I always say that, and then I always have a little caveat. Hello, my name is Jaya. I am a professional dancer. I'm a dance educator, but I'm also the founder of Jaya. I don't understand. The next topic is going to be pet peeves because why? Anyway, hello, my name is Jaya. I am a professional dancer. I am a dance educator, but I'm also the founder of Jaya, a dancewear brand made for everyone. So now that we got that out the way, if you haven't seen my other mini mic'd up series, I suggest you click above somewhere around here to get more insight on why I'm talking about these things and why I'm so interested and passionate about dance. So let's get right into it, the topic of battling imposter syndrome. So as I said, I went to therapy for this, not specifically for this, but I was going through something and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. As I was in my therapy sessions, my therapist kind of diagnosed me with imposter syndrome. And I feel like a lot of people get this. Well, maybe not a lot of people, but people who are multifaceted. And I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're so conceited. Who calls themselves multifaceted? I know I'm a multifaceted person because I have so many interests and I'm good at a lot of things. Battling imposter syndrome, one thing that helps is acknowledging things that you've done and the success that have made. Success you've made? I don't know. But the way you've been successful. And I think that I have a hard time accepting my successes. I always feel like nothing's ever good enough. I broke down and thought about why that's the case, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I discovered. Let's first get into the definition of what imposter syndrome actually is. And of course, I have my handy dandy iPad to look at and give you guys a true definition, and I'm not just coming off the dome, okay? So the definition of imposter syndrome is a psychological experience that causes people to feel like imposters or frauds, despite any genuine success they may have achieved. The persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. So that's the exact definition of it. The symptoms of it is perfectionism, superhuman expectations, dismissing successes, fear of being exposed, self-sabotage, and being one's greatest critic. So I Googled this, okay, and that's what I got. I thought about, like, what are the things that may contribute to my imposter syndrome? Now, obviously, this is something that it's self-inflicted. I'm doing this to myself. I don't think anyone is doing this to me, but there are factors that I think contributes to my mental surrounding this. So these are some of the things that I think contributed to my imposter syndrome. So the first thing is birth order. So I am the youngest of 4. I have 3 older brothers. So as you can imagine, my childhood was very interesting with 3 older brothers, all very, very good at the things that they did. They're all very successful in their own right. And being the 4th child to come behind all of these people who have done so well in life, there's this expectation for you to be great as well. Walt asked me actually like a really good question. He was like, do you feel successful? Like, are you happy about your success? And when he asked me that, I was like, yeah, I don't ever think about it in that way for myself. I always think about, like, did I make my parents proud? Did I make my family proud? Did I make my teacher happy? Like, I think about it like that instead of it being like, but do I feel successful? So anyway, we'll get more into that. And then on top of that, like, I was the only girl. So even though I followed behind all these great brothers who've done very, very well and were great role models, I'm still a girl, and girls have different experiences than guys. The things that they may have went through, I didn't understand, and there's some things that I went through that they don't understand. And with my parents, because they had all boys first and I was the first girl, but I was not the first child, it was kind of like a new learning curve for them, where it was like, okay, we've had boys, we've had kids before, they were all boys, but like, how do we raise a girl, after having all these boys? I've also read that it makes you feel like you don't belong. And I guess being a girl surrounded by boys and doing a lot of boy things, or what is considered boy things, right? I always felt like I didn't belong, but it's weird, guys. We're gonna get into it, okay? Because this is a lot. This is a multi-layered thing. There's things that girls just cannot do physically that men can do. Men are faster than women. Men are stronger than women. We know this. When my brothers would run and I would see how fast they are, I would run and I would not be as fast as them. And I would just be like, I'm not good at this, or I'm not going to be as good at this. But then when I'm like racing women, I would beat them. And I would not feel gratitude because I want to beat my brothers. Even though it's dang near impossible, I still had that mindset like, no, I want to beat them. Like, even with basketball, I would play boys, and then when I would play girls, I would be a lot better, but it wouldn't satisfy me because I knew that I could not beat a boy. So if that makes sense, I hope that makes sense. That's more birth order and like gender things, but yeah, so that was I think that plays a huge part in why I have imposter syndrome, a part of it. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the next symptom. Or the next thing I think why. Bullying. I was bullied a lot, okay? I was bullied in school. I was bullied in dance school. I was slightly bullied in basketball. I was bullied almost in every situation that I was in. Let's go to the reasons why I was bullied in school. So the reason I was bullied in school is because, one, also having an older brother that was in school 2 grades above me. I kind of got a lot of like trump cards. I came up in the ranks because I had an older brother. And for those who are the youngest and went to school with your older siblings, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I got to sit in the back of the bus as a 6th grader. Okay. Like, ooh wee, wow, wow. Like, my brother would check on me at lunch and make sure I was good. And like, my brother was also one of the guys that a lot of girls thought was attractive. I just got a lot of attention and a lot of things from a younger age, that like, if you went to school as the oldest child, or you're the first child, it's like you have to kind of like make your own path, make your own way. You know what I'm saying? For me, like I said, if they're older brothers who all went through the same school system, so the teachers knew me already, you know what I'm saying? Like, I already had a lot of stuff. So I think that created a lot of jealousy. Also, my hair. That's going to be a whole nother video on itself. But I got bullied a lot for my hair. People told me that black girls don't have long hair. They always would isolate me and tell me that I'm not black because I have long hair. You must be mixed with something. There's no way you're just black with that and the way you look. So I was bullied a lot for my looks. I never really fit in anywhere. And I went to a predominantly white school. So the white kids, I didn't fit in because obviously I'm of color and I'm black. But then the few black kids that were there, I didn't fit in with because I didn't have the typical black experience, or what they think experience. I'd have the typical black looks, or what they would deem what black people should look like. So I didn't really fit in with them either. I always, and still do, feel like an alien in this world because I just feel like I don't really belong anywhere. Also, I didn't make the typical decision. For one, I made a promise to myself. This is one thing I think that I've actually did that was for me. But I made a promise to myself. I made a promise to God. I made a promise to parents that I would hold my virginity until I met my forever partner. And I successfully did that. Because you make those decisions in school, like, I'm not going on a date. I didn't have many boyfriends. I didn't really focus on men. And one, because I was focused on all the different things, all different talents that I had, like dance, basketball, I would paint, I was in tennis, I was in Girl Scouts, I was in hors d'oeuvre school, I was cooking class, piano, I played the piano. I was focused on all my different things, my extracurricular activities, that I really wasn't paying attention to guys. And my brother also made sure no guys would pay attention to me because he's like, that's my little sister. Don't look at her. Don't touch her. Don't even think about her. Okay. Because of that environment, it was never an option for me to go and like experiment and kiss boys and then do all the things that high schoolers and middle schoolers do. I never really had that option. So because I made those decisions, some of them is just environment, I was judged by a lot of girls. Oh, you think you're better than all of us. I also didn't cuss until like I was 22 because I just didn't. And that also for some reason makes people feel a little bit insecure about themselves. Oh, you think you're better than us because you don't cuss? It's like, I never said that. I just don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? And it's weird. Like, I feel like as kids, or when you're in young, middle school, high school age, it's like people want you to make bad decisions with you, or make these decisions with them so that you don't look better than them. if that makes sense. Like, they know that they're bad decisions, but they still want to do them because they have this feeling to do so. But because you don't have that same feeling, they make you feel like you are a problem. Oh, you are Miss Goody Two Shoes. And trust me, Miss Goody Two Shoes was literally like my name for a lot of my life. All because I didn't want to do the things that everyone else wanted to do. I was focused on things like my hobbies and my talents and sports and things like that. Moving on, I got bullied a lot. The third thing I think that contributes to my imposter syndrome is being a dancer. Dance is all about performance, and you're obviously trying to entertain an audience. I dance because I love to dance, but then when I'm performing, I'm obviously performing to get some sort of reaction from the audience or the people who are watching me, right? So at a young age, you only perform, whether that's recital, you're learning, but you're also performing. Whereas like now, it's like I get to explore who I am as a dancer. I get to explore my own vocabulary. I'm not performing in front of an audience. I get to record myself if I decide. I'm performing in a way, but not really. Like, it's really for myself. And that's helping my imposter syndrome versus like when I was in a dance company. Like, I'm trying to please the audience. I'm also trying to please my director by doing things right, trying to be perfect. And dance definitely strives for perfection. And I think that that is a problem when it comes to imposter syndrome, because perfection is not real and you really cannot achieve it. But in dance, it's something that you always try to achieve. So when you always have that mindset that you're trying to achieve perfection, but at the same time, you know that it's an unachievable thing. It's just like a mind F. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good motivator to keep on trying your best, but it's a bad thing when it trains you to never really accept your successes, because you're always trying to be perfect and nothing will ever be good enough when you're always trying to pursue perfection. So, hey y'all, it's Jay from the future. I want to add a little something else. While I'm editing, I realized I have another point. Also, my hair looks so crazy. Please ignore her. So anyway, it also normalizes spectacular things that some dancers can do, the average person cannot do, like our flexibility and our strength. Because you're surrounded by other people who can also do the same thing you can do, you don't realize how special that talent is in the everyday world or just in general. And so you normalize your physical capability. And I feel like that's success in its own, like stretching every day and, maintaining your physique to be able to do these things is an accomplishment, and it's a very hard thing to do, and it's a very good thing to do. But when you're surrounded by other people who do the same thing, it normalizes that. And I feel like that plays a part in imposter syndrome, because you're normalizing something that is actually really, really good. So, okay, get back to the video. Okay, see ya. I think being a dancer, that's one of the negative sides to being a dancer. I think it contributes to my imposter syndrome. So the fourth thing I think that contributes to my imposter syndrome is tokenism. So this goes back to what I was saying about being raised in a predominantly white area. When you are raised in a predominantly white area and you are in classes that are more advanced, the less people of color you see, or I should say maybe black people you see. Because I see a lot of Asians and I see Hispanics, but just not as much as like the white people you see. And so when I would get into these classrooms, I would be like one or two of black people in the classrooms. When that's the case, and you also have siblings who did well before, there's this expectation for you to be greater than great. I felt like I had to not only represent my family name, but I also had to represent my entire race when I was in these classes. Couldn't be dumb. I couldn't get a C. I had to match my white counterparts with everything I did. So I strived to do super well in all of my classes. The pressure of feeling like if I fail this test, then all black people are dumb. Or it's going to be like, oh, of course you did. You know what I mean? So it was always like, oh no, like, let me let you guys know, like, we're here. Okay, we're not going to fall into the stereotypes that you guys perceive us or what you guys think about us. Like, we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when you are the token, it's your job to destroy all the stereotypes that are onto you from just being what your ethnicity or your race is. Your success, for some reason, doesn't feel as sweet because it's just equating to your white counterpart. Look at how many of them are achieving this thing and you achieve this thing and you're like, okay, well, I'm just hanging in there with them. It's not really like, I did well and I'm proud of myself and I am doing well. I hope this is making sense. This is just my brain. I'm brain dumping, guys. I'm brain dumping. So I think the last thing that contributes to my imposter syndrome is the fact that I am forging my own path. Being an entrepreneur and being self-employed, it comes with a lot of things. Imposter syndrome, I feel like, comes with the territory. Also being an artist, something that is not definitive. Like, I don't go to work every day and I don't get a solid paycheck. It's all of the work that I put in is what I get out. And I think that you forge your own path, it can be very lonely because you're experiencing something that other people may not have experienced. Maybe something similar, but nothing that maps on one-to-one. You already have this feeling of being isolated and being different from the other things that I've said, but then on top of that, like choosing a path that is not made and you're actually bulldozing your own path. Yeah, you feel lonely and it gets hard, and then you have no one to talk to because no one really understands because no one else is doing it the way that you're doing it. So yeah, I think being an entrepreneur and I think that being a founder and being an artist can get really lonely, and it can play a lot into your imposter syndrome. So how do I cope with imposter syndrome? First thing is reflection. I just think about where I am and how far I came. I think that also being a founder or being an entrepreneur, you're always thinking about the future. You're always thinking about the next step, but you never take the time to like think about what you already did and like how well you did it and how far you have come from the first step you took. And if I stop right now, that's when Walt asked me that question, like, do you feel like you're successful? I feel like I am successful. I have done so many things before my 30s. I'm 29 and I already started a business. I already had a professional dance career. I got married. I moved multiple places. I have homes. I've done so many things, and now I'm starting my new YouTube journey. I'm more consistent with that. I am a designer. I am an interior designer. I feel like I am actually very successful, but I have to think about that instead of just feeling that. And that's where I'm trying to get to. It's like, girl, just feel it, but also balance it with being humble. Don't just sit here and be so conceited, like I'm the greatest thing on God's green earth. But I think healthy flexes every now and then is important and needs to be done. So practicing gratitude, just being grateful for what I've done and where I am and what I have, and the fact that I still have my family and that support. And I did lose some people along the way, but other than that, life has been great. I can't really complain. I can complain when I think about it, but when I really just reflect and just think about it, I am truly grateful for my life, and I really would not trade it for the world. So being more grateful, practicing gratitude is what also helps me with imposter syndrome. Reminding myself that I'm not alone, because like I said, imposter syndrome makes you feel very isolated. It makes you feel like you are alone, but just reminding myself I'm not alone. I have an amazing husband. I have an amazing family support system. I have amazing friends who check on me, make sure I'm doing good. Like, I just have an amazing support system, and I need to lean into them and continue to pray for them and continue to just absorb all of their love and light and realize that it's there and I'm not alone. I may feel alone in some situations, in a lot of situations, but know that I'm not alone. So that helps. And also celebrate my wins, no matter how big and no matter how small. I never announced this, but I'm going to announce it soon. But Jaya is now on Amazon, so you're able to buy the shoes on Amazon. And I got my first sale like 3 days ago, and I wasn't excited. And Walt was over here like, yeah, you got your first sale. Yeah. Why are you not excited? What do you want to eat today? What do you want for dinner? Like, you did your first sale. And I'm just like, but it was only one. And he's like, but it's your first. And I'm like, but I worked so hard and I only got one. It feels like I was turning a faucet for forever and I get one drip of water. And like, that's such a horrible mindset. I should have been excited to get a drip of water because I've been turning that thing for so long. It's nice to see that there's water because I now know I'm going in the right direction. But instead of me feeling like that, I was just like, it's not good enough. Oh, I hate that I do that. So I'm working on that. I'm working on celebrating my wins, no matter how big, no matter how small. I'm working on it. I think also like aligning my perspective on what is a win and what's not, because I just did a video shoot for Levi's TikTok, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you shot for Levi's. And I'm just like, yeah, but it wasn't their catalog. I was on their TikTok. And a lot of people are like, that's still amazing. And I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like my expectations are so freaking skewed. They're so bad. And it's only for myself, because when I hear other people's stuff and I hear other people's stories, I'm so happy for them. I'm like, this is amazing. But when it comes to me, I'm just like, oh, you could do better. And that's horrible. I'm getting better at that. Also, understanding my triggers. If I understand my triggers, I understand how to combat it immediately. I can't stop some of the triggers from happening because some of these triggers aren't necessarily from me. They're from an outside source. Knowing my triggers, and I've learned them, and I feel like that's one of the key that's been helping me a lot in this whole situation. Last but not least, what helps me the most is just praying and talking to God and just speaking positivity, affirmation, good things, putting out good things into the world, and talking to God not only when things are bad, but also when things are really, really good. I have been doing that, and I feel a lot better. I pray every morning after I meditate, and it just has been a life-changing thing for me, because there's days that I wake up and I have really bad days, and there's days that I wake up and they're really good days. But either way, I need to talk to God. I hope this all makes sense. This is a longer one. If you're battling imposter syndrome, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you do to maybe combat it, or if maybe you're watching this video and you can relate. Try some of these things, and maybe it can also help you. So don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys again in another video very, very soon. Bye.